Spain's Catholic traditions seems to have got quite a reaction on the YouTube channel on a couple of shorts that we've done, and they've kind of went viral, if you like. So I'm going to dive into an article on El País, with looking at some of the pictures, 20 photos from around Spain over the Easter period, and give you my reaction to them. First of all, obviously the hoods. There's been a lot of uh, bizarre comments, I will say, to say the least, about the hoods and why the need for them. If you go on to the YouTube channel and you click on posts, Karen has written a little bit about um, the hoods and why they wear them, etc. For those who aren't Catholic and don't understand the Spanish Catholic traditions, we will go through the pictures. So, yeah, I mean, I love it personally. I mean, I'm brought up Catholic, and we never seen anything like this in Scotland. I don't think Scotland would ever dare allow such blatant Catholicism to be seen on the streets anyway. And there's another one where they're carrying either Christ or whatever, but it shows you. I mean, it's the weight of these things must be immense. And there's a further away picture. I mean, is the fact. I mean, I don't want to get into the conversation about I don't know how much Catholics are in Spain, how many people go to church in Spain. It's like I've said before, not everyone that is Catholic goes to mass. Certainly I don't go to mass every single week, and my father tells me to get to mass when it's Easter and the important days. But other than that, I'm not a practicing Catholic, as are many around the world. So keeping that aside, I think it's fantastic that they do turn out in fantastic numbers. And it's not just set up for tourists, these things. A lot of people think that they're set up for tourists. We've seen them in major cities. We've seen them in Alicante. We've seen them in Torrevieja. We call that a major city. But, we've seen places where they are kind of set up for tourists. But then we've seen them in little villages as well. And it's the heart of the village. It's the heart of the community that keeps the Catholic traditions in Spain going forward. And that one's in Albacete. That's quite far inland. It's nowhere near the coast. It's Albacete. The only time we went past Albacete, I think, was on the train heading to Madrid. This is an interesting one. I've never seen this one before. Thousands of drummers dressed in brightly coloured patterned tunics, wearing traditional headgear, gathered this Holy Thursday in Murcia. And Murcia, that's an interesting one. It's not one that I've seen before. Very interesting. And then there is the several members of the Entrada Terrafuno Brotherhood inside the Mosque Cathedral of Cordoba, especially with world events that are going on and the way that people see mosques and things around the world. It's interesting that we all know the history of Spain. We know that the Catholics kicked out the Muslims hundreds of years ago, but it's a different question altogether, isn't it? This is an interesting one with it looks like members of the Guardia Civil, I think, holding Christ on his cross. I mean, I just think it's beautiful. I honestly do. I think it's. I mean, each to their own. I know there are a lot of people that don't want to talk about religion or politics and stuff. But when you do come to Spain, it is a big part of Spain. Now, I've had people come on the channel and say, "Well, it's not a big part of Spain." Well, it kind of is. It's it is all around the country, these parades. But anyway, I think it's great that they're holding on to their Catholicism and their Catholic Christianity. Guard of Honor with King Alfonso's Brigade of the Spanish Legion carries the statute. There we go. That's on the Holy Thursday in Malaga. Here's another one. There's one in Granada. Christ of the Gypsies. This one in Granada. Very interesting. The women all dressed in black. A lot of people say. A lot of people having a lot of disrespectful comments on it as well from people of other religions. Which religion is a very dividing subject. with a lot of people. Now, you're either a believer or you're not a believer, and I think that everyone should be left to their own devices. And it's all part and parcel of social media. I get that. People have to have their say in whatever negative way that they deem appropriate. You know, my my uncle used to say to me, if you've nothing good to say nothing at all. I think that's something that a lot of people should adhere to, but they refuse to in social media because social media just gives them a platform to mouth off all they want without saying it to someone's face. An interesting one where they're actually holding one of the things and it jumping up in the air. Jesus, that must be. Oof, that's an interesting one. There's another one. And where's this one? 20 women. That's all women dressed. That's interesting because I didn't know that. I didn't know that you got women dressed with the hoods on as well. I thought it was always men. Our Lady of the Rosary, the capital of Rioja. Interesting. One of the nighttime parades in Toledo. This one. Tell me what you think of this. I think it's brilliant, honestly. Um, having grown up in a country where there are certain type of marches that are very divisive. I mean, people will say that, well, this is divisive. Well, it's not. If you could you imagine Christianity in the UK if they hadn't sold off all the churches for apartments and stuff, But each to their own, as they say. And that's another one from Toledo. It's an interesting one, but they're probably on their knees to get this one out the church, because I did see in Nerja they had to sort of crouch down to get the statue out the church doors, and it's unbelievable some of the things they do. Where's this one? That's the one's in Madrid. It's one from Madrid. I always wondered what it'd be like seeing the Semana Santa stuff up in Madrid. Palm Sunday. This one, procession in Toledo. I knew that without even reading it. I knew it was Palm Sunday because of the palms. See, you never get things like that. I mean, when you grow up, especially with Christianity in the UK, because we speak about the UK, it's all commercialised. It's far too commercialised, and you get the Good Friday off, you get the Easter Monday off, and then that's it. Um, it's weird. No, it's not weird. It's just the way that it is. And another one, more than 2,000 members, men and women, of the Royal Brotherhood of Christio. I'm going to try and pronounce that because my throat's too sore this morning. Zamora. There you go. What's your thoughts on that? And this is showing you pictures from all around the country. And people say, oh, this is an interesting one. Jesus. Yeah, you wouldn't want to bump into these dudes on a dark night, would you? Members of the Brotherhood of Estrella before Palm Sunday procession in Sevilla. There you go. To be fair, if I was brought up Spanish, I'd probably be into that. I'd admit it. Yeah, I would. That would probably. I'd be in amongst that. I'd be up for some of that. You know, each for their own. You'd be sneaking about hood on. The Brotherhood of Salamanca holds a procession on the 28th, the most historic part of the city. It's all about tradition, isn't it? And I think that's more than likely what annoys a lot of people, is that these traditions are going on. And some people say, well, it's does it have a place in modern day? Whether you believe in Christ or you believe in God or not is something completely different. But you get people that say, "Well, church is just part of the issue." I think that people in power are more part of the issue. But yeah, that is an interesting one as well. The guy's taking his hood off by the looks of it. Hood of Nazarene sister during, and it's another one from Madrid. And this is an interesting one. procession in Palmanova on Palm Sunday. That's number 17. And another one from Seville, Brotherhood of the Australia, on Palm Sunday, on his way to the church. Antonio Banderas participating in a procession of the Brotherhood of Tears and Favours in his native Malaga on the 29th of March. And there's another one, the Holy Week procession. Another one in Seville. And that's it. That's the 20. So tell me your thoughts on that. I'm sure it'll be as divisive as ever. Do you think it's a good thing? Do you think it's a bad thing? Personally, my thoughts are each to their own. If you're not religious, except that that is they do still have traditions that they adhere to in this country, and that's why I love Spain. That really is why I love it, because I think that there's a lack of community within the UK. I grew up at a time in the UK where there was a sense of community. You know, the 70s and the early 80s, and it's kind of been lost in the United Kingdom. And the fact that you do get that a lot more, and it's maybe old fashioned. It's maybe, you know, not a sign of the times, or maybe it is just about them holding on to their identity. Something that a lot of people say that the UK's lost its identity. So shouldn't Spain celebrate this type of thing to help retain its identity? Tell me in the comments. Anyway, have a fantastic day wherever you are. Hasta luego.